Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Gage Oxley. We are here at Central Picture House and joined with me is fabulous Bruce Herbelin-Earle, talented actor extraordinaire. You may have known him and seen him in some of our stuff from Wretched Things, Netflix's Free Reign and Channel 5's 15 Days, which is great. I really enjoyed it. So we're going to be chatting through some questions. We're going to have a little informal chat. We've got some questions prepared from our Patreon, which we'll go into in a moment. And yeah, let's get started.
Let's do it.
Okay, so last time we met, we were in LA. We were in America for our US premiere of Wretched Things. What was that like for you?
Great fun, especially as it was an English project shot in Leeds. It was kind of cool to be over there and having the film premiere and seeing the US audience's reaction to it.
Yeah, the screen was massive. It was the biggest screen I think I've ever seen on that. It was quite intimidating for me. It must have been terrifying for you, knowing that, or seeing yourself on such a big scale, in such an intimidating and intimate scene.
Yeah.
How did you kind of combat those nerves going into that as an actor?
I kind of tend to try and avoid having them in the first place. So it's like I guess I'm here to do a job, right? And I've done my job, I've filmed it, there's absolutely nothing that we can do once we wrap on set. Everything is left to the edit and everything like that. And when it gets edited and made together and put up on a screen like that, it's kind of a celebration of everyone's work together. So for me to then take that personally and be like, I didn't do so well in this scene or that scene, it kind of, I don't know, it's not really about me. But it was cool. It was cool to see everything that we did in Leeds over a week and a half, being put up there in Los Angeles on a huge screen. It was great.
Yeah.
You must have felt very proud.
Proud, terrified, nervous, excited, everything. I think every emotion was running through my head with that. It was an incredible experience, and I think it was, again, this is like, for me, especially for Oxygen and what we do, where this is the first big project that we've really worked on. And it can only go up, I think, from here. So obviously we were filming about this time, summer last year. What was it like on set back in June 2018 with us? What was your experience like?
I was welcomed with open arms. It was nice because I'd worked with Gage on a previous project. It was nice because I'd worked with you on that previously, so I sort of knew what I was kind of stepping onto, the way Gage works and stuff. It's kind of felt a little bit familiar to me, and you made it really easy. We just kind of, you grabbed me for 2 days from Free Reign.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scheduling was a little bit tricky to
It was
maneuver.
mental.
But so I only did 2 days, didn't I?
Yeah.
The second day I had a chest infection.
Yeah.
And it was sweltering in the apartment. I just kept coughing in between takes and stuff. But
I vividly remember it was the height of the World Cup. England were like, oh, it's coming home. And I remember we were sat watching the football on the night off. Sean had put you in a flannel of like boiling hot water to steam you. And I was like, what the hell's going on? It's like the most surreal thing. And then you texted me like a few days later in the back of an ambulance. I was like, oh God.
I sent you that picture, didn't I? Yeah, so it turns out I had pneumonia. So that's nice. It was good, It was a little bit daunting at first because the scene hadn't been written. You had an outline, you had a couple of points that you wanted to hit, you wanted the transaction of emotion and sort of me and Adam were, I think we work in a similar sort of way in that everything's very instinctual. So it meant that even though we hadn't rehearsed or prepared this scene, we could essentially devise it in half an afternoon and then just shoot it, and it was really easy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you find it easy?
I found it really. I didn't feel like I had to. I don't know. Me and Adam worked really well, and I think it showed. I didn't feel like I had to physically sweat or tear myself up or go into my head about this scene. It was literally just this, that, this. Anything else you want to add, Bruce? Go for it. Was what you said to me. And we kind of let loose, and it was a really interesting and enjoyable experience.
I think for me that scene was like, it's my favourite scene of the film, I think, just because it's so, not only is it so visual, but it encompasses everything that the film is, that kind of deeply disturbing tension, the characters, and it was so nice to be able to bring that while we're on set and feel the energy of what was going on, what the project was like, and just react rather than act. I think that was really nice for me as a director to be able to do that, so thank you for that.
Was it easy to kind of let us do our own thing? Was it
Completely.
Were you a little bit worried at certain points? You were like, oh, my actors, you know, I don't know, they're going off script.
No, every actor we ever work with, ever, and I will probably do this forever, is the script is there as a guideline, it's a brief, it's not the be all and end all. Obviously there are some scenes where I'm like, actually I'd like to do this because I really like this line. But generally I know that the actors have a more unique voice than I do and can bring that to the character. So you have Kyle's voice, Adam has Louis' voice, I have my voice, and I can try and replicate those two characters, but that as a writer the most difficult thing is writing to people's voices.
Yeah.
That's not your own, and so I'm always fully for people taking over my work and my writing. So
Fantastic.
Now we have something of a Patreon. If you're not a part of it, you should look at it for less than $3 a month, which is the price of a coffee. Not the price of these coffees, but the price of some coffees. You can support us to carry on making incredibly challenging, provocative, and important dramas, and you also get exclusive perks like being able to ask some questions of Bruce. So we're going to go on to some of those questions now from our Patreon. So this first question is from Lola. She asks, how did you get involved in Wretched Things, and what did you like about this project?
I got involved in Wretched Things after Gage asked me to be involved.
Yeah.
I'd worked with him on a previous project. It was from then on, he said he has this character in mind that he hadn't written just yet into the story, but he would... he sent me a synopsis of the character. I read it. I was interested, and he was like, "Great, we need you for 2 days. Can you do it?"
Yeah.
And it was all fine in the end. Had such a great time, and it was so different. It was so different from anything I'd done, and I feel like I had a sense of freedom with it as well, for sure. I could sort of take a little bit of ownership, whereas in most projects, you know, the studio or the director has main control, or, you know, certainly the producers do, and you kind of have to sort of be maybe a little bit conservative in your acting, and I don't know, but with this I felt so free and so just up for trying anything, and it was a really good experience.
Do you think that's important as an actor, to have freedom, to be able to move around and shape yourself?
Yeah, I think so. You have to explore every avenue of the character that you can, no matter how absurd it is. I always like going to kind of extreme lengths, extreme ranges, even if it doesn't really work, because it's just, at least I'm trying new things. I hate when dialogue is kind of stagnated, and especially with auditions, I tend to kind of over-rehearse the lines a little bit, and I come out of the room after an audition, I think, wow, that was so stagnant, it was so off, I felt over-rehearsed. So if I can try and sort of stray away a little bit from what's written and sort of inject a little bit of Bruce in it, then I can maybe do something with it, and I can maybe make it mine. But yeah, that's what I always try and do.
Our second question is, what was your reaction when you read and filmed that explicit scene with Adam? Have you seen it on screen? We kind of answered that, but maybe you can chat about when you first saw the script and read it, and what we were chatting about, what we thought.
It was mental. I thought I was going up for a different character at first. Do you remember?
You were going up for Jax.
I was Jax behind the camera. I was going up for Jack's character, and I was like, "Hey, Gage, man, this is really. I'm gonna have to seriously consider something like this." And he was like, "Oh no, it's okay. I've got you for a different character who's not written, but here he is." And yeah, I was instantly interested, because it was kind of this weird kind of guy who comes into the story. He's only there for like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Comes and serves a purpose by buying some boxes. That's his fetish, some used boxes. And then a series of events happen to him, and he leaves then that story, and you don't see him again.
Yeah.
So it was really nice for me to come in and out real quick, bish bash bosh, and then see it all together.
So our third question is, this role, and especially that scene, the infamous scene from Wretched Things, is far from your role in Free Reign on Netflix. Are you expecting to shock and get reactions from your fans?
Yeah, they're very different. One's a kids show, one's just an R-rated drama.
Yeah.
Indie film, art house. I'd say art house film.
I'd say art house.
Certainly got some art house.
Bit niche.
Yeah, but the work stays the same at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. You come up, you prepare, you learn your lines, you block the scene, you do all that. But the way perhaps the acting is translated is perhaps different, being from a very PG setting on Free Reign to this kind of intense, dramatic feature, I was very particular on how I wanted to kind of the naturalistic element to come across with Carl, because I didn't want to overplay it.
Yeah.
To sort of look and feel kind of false. And
I think watching it, and especially even being there on the set and seeing your emotion on camera and in real life is haunting, like absolutely terrifying, and that is something that I guess you can't get in a show like Free Rein, because it is just too traumatic. The characters, then I think that suits the character. You know, Kyle is a very traumatic character. He's a traumatized character, and that's why it works. I think they're two very different things. Two very different art forms.
Yeah.
So, do you think it's important to, as an actor, to do films like Wretched Things, to go into films like that are art house, that are indie, that are no or low budget? Do you think as an actor that's important?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really good for an artist to give himself or herself to a project that's perhaps scraping a budget together and getting involved in a 2-week shoot. Don't even have to get paid. You know, it's such a rewarding experience at the end of the day, because you're making a film with so many usually young potential filmmakers, and to be part of something so early on is kind of like a little honour. Really, is really, really nice, and to see it made and to see where people go next, or where people are going to be in the next 5 years. I think it's important for especially establishing actors to do those kinds of projects.
Our second to last question from our Patreon asks about your boundaries as an actor. Obviously, Wretched Things had everything from full frontal nudity to, you saw in your scene, what exactly that was like kind of the extent that we'd go through. What are your boundaries as an actor? What would you go to for the character?
Interesting. That's a really good question. I think it is important to have boundaries as an actor, especially when you're starting out, because it gives you something to it doesn't put yourself in a box, but it kind of you have to kind of work out where you're at and what you're good at first, and where you perhaps need improving, and those boundaries kind of help a little bit. But once you start sort of to develop your career and to really kind of come into your own as an actor, I think it's really important to lift those boundaries and do as many projects where perhaps there are scenes of sexual nature and stuff, but usually those kinds of scenes, they're not really about the sex, right? It's really just, there's something deeper being sort of translated there, and it's sex scenes aren't actually that daunting when you come and film them. It's really
a fight
professional.
Scene or a dance scene.
Yeah.
It's more than that. It's less than that.
It's for sure. And coming and doing it on Wretched Things was, sure, I was very, very nervous. It was the first time that I'd ever done something like that. But meeting Adam, working with you, very quickly I was put at ease, and it became a day of work. Yeah, that's all the day was. And
I think Lola, who asked this question, she's also asked something similar to me, and I remember saying in that Q&A that actually it's not. Again, it's the same with you. It's not about that. It's about the meaning behind it. So while Wretched Things is a very sexually provocative film, it's not about sex. It's about the power. It's about authority. It's about domination. It's about everything else apart from sex. And so I think that's kind of where we came from the project side. Hopefully that came across. I think it kind of did, because I guess when you're watching it, it's not a very comfortable, enjoyable watch.
No, it's definitely not.
No,
it's definitely not. But it's an important one nonetheless, and I think it does belong in out in the world for people to see, because there aren't many of these films being created, and a lot of them are quickly shut down and are shunned because it's simply not the effort,
Yeah.
So it's sad, really. That's why I encourage more filmmakers to be like yourself and find their voice. And
that was very nice. I'm going to put that on my CV. What I want to know is about your inspirations, just as an actor in general, away from Wretched Things. What are you inspired by?
I'm inspired by performances that go beyond the norm. So performances like Jim Carrey's The Mask, Jack Black's School of Rock, Johnny Depp's like Edward Scissorhands. Like I found myself just fascinated by seemingly human people creating these weird, bizarre caricatures of themselves and just slapping it on the screen. You know, it kind of looks really eye-opening. And when I was at school and taking drama classes and stuff, I draw a lot of inspiration on the comedic factor because it was something that I just simply enjoyed to do. So yeah, they were my kind of inspirations growing up. But now, I don't know, I'm sort of finding my feet. I'm sort of figuring out the person that I want to be, and I kind of take little things from the actors that are currently have a buzz and doing well in the industry, and I can kind of take it and use what they project and use, and hopefully in a couple of years, hopefully I'll have found my feet and kind of established myself and maybe getting some good work on the go. But in terms of that, I don't know, we'll see. It's an adventure. It's an adventure. I hope so. Do you have anything on the go coming up next? What's new with Gage Oxley?
Oh Christ! Well, this is a really nice time for us. Over the last 5 years, we've always, every time we've been in post-production, which is distribution, like getting the film out there, we've always been in pre-production or planning a new film. At the same time, we've never had a rest of like just a time where we're not doing anything at all. And this is the very first time we've ever had a period of time where we can explore that. And it's been so nice to just look up and like away from the computers, away from the distribution, away from editing, and being like, actually, what are we going through right now? And that has inspired our next project, which I can't really say much about, other than it's insane, mental, and we're working with a great crew on it at the moment, and we're getting to a point where we're about to be revealing something about it. So it's coming up soon. How about you? How about you? What are you up to? What are you doing? Where are you at?
Yeah, so I'm back. I've finished Free Reign now.
Yes.
So the contract's up. I'm currently looking for more work. So back to auditioning and things like that. Taking classes. I'd like to take some accent classes as well.
Accent?
Yeah, brush up on my Southern American and stuff.
I mean, you've got the Yorkshire down to a T, because you take the mick out of me all the time. You definitely do. Yeah?
Yeah, aye.
Sounds like Flintstones. I've heard you do American quite well. You can do like general American. What other accents can you do? Like, what's your
French,
yeah.
English. I'll try Scottish.
Yeah, go on. So you're at the Fringe next year then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I'd love to just. I love like the South. I want to try and nail a few that are in the States because they have such weird and wonderful. Like, I'd quite like to get Canadian down too. I don't know why.
It's challenging, isn't it?
I have so much free time now, Gage. You have no idea how crazy I get at home and just think up weird stuff.
That's where the magic comes from.
That's where the magic comes from. Magic comes from having too much free time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Bruce, thanks so much for joining me today. Thank you, Patreon, for voting for Bruce. We are going to be doing a Q&A next with Mr. Jack Parr, who plays Joey in your chapter. You never got to meet the character, but you've met the real person.
Even better.
Even better. Thanks so much, everyone. If you've got any questions, do leave them down in the comments below. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll be seeing you very soon.